Welcome back to Cattle Ranch 25. Today we start Season 3 and we have goals in mind, but first let's do a quick recap. Season 1, we went until we acquired our beef cattle, which led to Season 2 and building this beautiful barn that houses our dairy cattle. So now that we have both types of cattle, expanding is the next thing in mind, but the goal for this season is going to be becoming a producer of as much cattle feed as possible to make a ton of money. So by the end of today's video, we're gonna have enough feed in hand that we can sell extra. We'll be able to produce enough for our own cattle as well as starting to sell it, whether that's TMR, whether it's hay or silage. I haven't gotten that part figured out yet, but we're definitely starting a business where we sell cattle feed to anyone and everyone who is interested. So how are we gonna get there? We only have $344 right now. And you can see this is the new plot of land that we did purchase last episode. So we're just gonna cruise around here and cut as much of it as we can, and we're probably gonna turn it into hay. I'm gonna have to do all of this myself. No workers are gonna be able to be used. Maybe follow me at one point. But since this isn't a field, course play is not going to work, steering assist isn't going to work. This is going to be one of the toughest challenges of this playthrough so far. Getting this should be a good amount of money, but we have a lot of things in mind, a lot of equipment that we're going to want to purchase to get this operation up and running to where we feel like we did start a successful feed production and company to make a ton of money. So that is the goal of this video and this season of Cattle Ranch. So we're gonna get focused here, but after we get this cut, we'll probably go over our little laundry list of all the equipment and productions that are gonna be required. And this is the first step of that plan to get there, is the largest grass cutting session of this series so far. And it's, you can see some outlines that we started making of where the roads are gonna go. I've got this huge grand plan of how I want this to look when we're all done, and it's exciting to start driving towards it. It's time to stay focused and make a lot of progress. We're officially in the negative right now. It is 6 o'clock at night. It's dark in January at 6 here in Comlands, and our worker stopped. We did have a worker cultivating the old soybean field, which is going to turn into corn, and we'll go into more detail about that later, but I just want to give an update. About halfway done. It's hard to tell here at night, but about halfway done with what we're going to cut here. And I want to get this done tonight, and then in the morning we will figure out how to get that balance back above 0 and get the worker back going on cultivating. We got some time before we can plant the corn, so just was getting a little bit of a head start on that and burnt through our $300 that we had just in fees for the worker. So staying focused here, and I think we're going to take a little bit of a break on cutting so I can show you all the equipment and productions we're going to want to be able to purchase before we call Season 3 good. So starting with some common sense setup here, a crone would be nice to have, but it's expensive. It's almost $500,000. So a mowing upgrade is 100% on the table here, and a requirement for me. It might end up being this setup with the front one, now that we do have enough horsepower, but another tractor might be required. No, we do have the hookup on the case for that. So that could be an option for us. The other thing I was debating was something with the Mac Dawn and seeing about cutting grass with it, but it's working with is only 5 meters, so that doesn't seem to be as valuable as something like this setup here, which gives us 9.4 plus 3.4. That's a lot of meters compared to the Mac Dawn, and then only 10 for the crone, so it might make sense to go with the cheaper setup here. I think that's the plan for the mowers. A massive forage wagon is definitely going to be required for this part of the process as well. So we're looking at this one. We may look at some other mods as well between now and when we make that decision. But we're definitely going to want a forage wagon that has massive capacity. And another thing we're kind of keeping an eye on, and I'm going to be looking for mods for this as well, is a forage harvester, and like another big dollar amount that we're gonna have to find money for. So when it comes time to chopping corn, we're gonna need something like this to take care of business for us. Got a handful of options here that come with the game. Gonna find out what mods are out there as well. And as far as pulling this off, we want this massive production. So I don't have any of the mods installed yet, but we are gonna be looking at a way to dry the grass to turn it into hay in a production, as well as turn it into silage. When we chop the corn, we're gonna wanna turn it into silage as well. So that's another thing we're gonna be looking for. And then potentially a production that does the feed mixing for us. Not potentially, that's gonna be a requirement as well. But I'm gonna stay focused, try to get the rest of this cut before the sun rises so that we can ted it in the morning, bale it up, and see how much money we can make off this field in hay. Well, it is early morning and the fees have been really adding up. We are all the way at 3,200 negative, which is somewhat confusing that we would have that many operating costs throughout the night. But I guess with this new barn, maybe our production costs are a lot higher than they were, but we do have a couple bales here we're taking over just to make sure we have enough feed over here. And we got that whole new grass area cut, so we're gonna get the tedder going here very soon, but we gotta get this balance taken care of, get it back in the positive. There is a decent amount of lettuce that we could sell, and it seems like the prices are still good here in February. So we'll get that going. We'll check the sawmill to see if there are any wood beams to be able to sell. And then after that, we'll get back to what's hopefully gonna make us a ton of money. I'm really hoping this cut that we just did is gonna be very beneficial, and that's right, our tractor can't even fit in here. So that's something else we have to find a solution for, is some way to bring feed in here that's not going to hit the top. So, let's see if I can get that far enough. It looks like it did take the one bale. So let's go ahead right here. I think cab view might be best for this. Now if I back up, they took it. Awesome. All right, and that cow's trying to escape in there. But let's go ahead and jump in the truck because we do want to pick up the lettuce. How did you get out? Get back in. And it looks like we are about a month away from more Angus cattle, and then 3 months away from the bulk of the ones that were babies when we first bought. There's 10 of them that are 30%, or they're 70% to reproduction. So we're gonna get a decent amount of new Angus cattle soon. And we did talk about selling the first 2 mamas when that time comes, when we get that second reproduction state from them. So some things to look forward to in the near future. Ways to make some cash, and also ways to expand the cattle operation just, naturally. So 6,000 lettuce to sell. I'm gonna drive by. Do not believe we have a wood beam right now, but it's worth double checking. I think we did have to get one of those produced to be able to afford the barn last episode. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of time, and just driving by here, I see there's nothing there. So let's go ahead and head to the farmer's market, and hopefully this gives us enough cushion to get through February without having to worry about some extra cash. And this should give us about 10,000 left over, I believe. Oh, we made 20 there, so 17,000 left over. All right, let's head home, start getting tedding. And then we'll get the windrower and baler all configured, but I do want to also get that worker going back on plowing the soon-to-be cornfield. Definitely going to be focused on crops that are going to make us feed moving forward. So we will have one crop that'll generate straw, one crop to generate corn so that we can cut the corn. And then we have the 2 fields that are going to be long-term 2 grass fields. They might change over time though. But that's the plan right now. So we're going to start executing that. And hopefully that leads to a lot of income. All right, get our worker going back here and get back in the Puma. And we just need to hook up to the tedder now. And this field's gonna be, what stage are we at? We're at 3 of 4. So the next month that actually generates growth stages, this one will be ready to cut. And it'll be the first time, I believe. Oh, that's the wrong direction. It'll be the first time cutting it with the expansion we made last episode. Pretty good working with on this. We will probably focus on getting an upgrade. Well, we might not. If we get the production, we're not going to worry about upgrading this because we'll stop using it and we'll end up selling it, actually, if we do get a silo that can dry the grass for us. Yeah, I think that would be wise long term, so we don't have to worry about baling and transporting all the bales. We just have to worry about picking up the grass off the ground and transporting it to a silo, and then emptying the silo when it comes time to use the feed that is in the silos. So that's the plan and the ideas. But I figured turning this into hay, since we do not have any equipment right now to make silage would be almost 3 times more profitable. Oh, sounds tempting, but we don't have any funds to do that. So we'll keep focused on this. We'll get it done. Once we get it rowed up and baled, hopefully this is the only time we have to do this much baling, because it's gonna be a chore. And that is a huge field of hay all done. We will get this little spot here, even though I'm not 100% sure we'll be able to pick up that stuff there. But that might have actually moved it back into our yard. Ah, I was close. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a break on the cultivating up there and get them down here to help us with baling and rowing. So I'll get that all configured and we'll get rolling. And I don't think it matters horsepower-wise which tractor does which job, so I am gonna put the International on the baling. What a beautiful tractor. Well, it's gonna be a lot of trips to the farmer's market here. You can see all of these bales out here, and to be optimistic, if we would have just cultivated and not done this hay, we wouldn't have made any money. Now we're gonna go with that. So we'll see here what we're gonna make per trip. And there we go. 15,000. So if we get, 8 trips, that'd be nice, but I think we're gonna get like 4. And trip number 2 here, bringing in another 15 grand. I think what we'll do at this point is we'll jump ahead to where the dollar amount is after selling all the bales. Can't wait to see this in spring. These trees look great. I am doing a little detour here to get going back on the cultivating, because we're gonna wanna get that new field created, and I definitely wanna show you guys the layout there, because I have some plans on some structures that we're gonna have. And I want to make sure we save that area, so we'll show you in a little bit that. But I want to get this going, get this worker to finish as much as we can while we finish moving the bales, and then at that point I'll probably take this over. No reason to spend money when we don't need to, but it'll save us a little bit of time right now. And we do have 62,000 in the account. I'm gonna go ahead and keep these bales the way they are, because I don't think we want to risk running out of feed for the cattle. So it's gonna be probably April when we get to cut the grass behind us. I mean, we could, if in a pinch, we could cut it now, but I believe April is when this will grow again, so we'll be able to cut it at the full peak. And there should be a lot of hay too, because this is treated, we limed 95% yield bonus. I'm imagining this is gonna bring in a decent amount of hay, and after that, we should have a good stockpile to get through and just feed the cattle with. We do need to get something for milk eventually, because we do have 522 liters already, and slurry's at 2,000. So it could be something that we think about getting a slurry tank going, and some type of implement to actually allow us to spread some slurry for fertilizer. And then eventually we'll want to figure out if we can find a spot for a manure pit. And I think in the back there might be pretty good. But that would be good to, everything that has to do with cattle, we're wanting to make money off of. So we're going to figure out ways to make as much money as possible out of our cattle. And we're going to sell 2 of our Angus beef cattles next month. This field's just about done. I am going to take over here. But let's take a look at what we're talking about with the cattle real quick. So I'll go into our cow pasture here. We have two 36-month-old Angus cows. They are 2 months away from reproduction. So once we hit that and get new babies from them, they're going to get sold. These ones here, we're probably going to wait till another cycle as well and get this. You know, we get 20 babies out of these 10. I think that would be solid. And then these ones are mature eventually. So we're on a good path. Now it's time to just get there, right? Like some of this stuff just takes time and some of it will happen naturally. And it's just, we have to wait for that to happen. What I'm trying to say is even though we feel like we're making some good progress, we're going to have to be patient to get to where we actually see it. And $61,000, almost $62,000 in the account, not necessarily enough to make any purchases right now. We might look at that in a few and see if we can get an upgraded mower so it's quicker to mow next time around that big grass field. And then once the new grass field, once we get that planted and it's ready for its first cut, we're definitely going to want the new mower by then. If not the mower and the productions to be able to pick up the hay and sell it, but I don't know if we're going to have enough money for that. We do have over $100,000 worth of soybeans. That's going to be good to sell here in a couple months. That will definitely help the pocketbook. Again, just got to be patient. We're making all the right decisions, and we just got to stay the course right now. And we should be done. I am going to do a little bit of a check on this field, cruise down to the bottom of it and make sure, because I noticed some things earlier today, and I want to make sure the worker did take care of it. Oh yeah, let's unfold. I do see it. There's a spot up here that was not cultivated, so we'll get that taken care of as well here. And just a little part of the headland here that was not done, so everything's good. We'll have to get some lime put down here. Well, do we need the lime? I don't know if we do. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, fertilization is at 0. Lime is not required. We're good. So we just need to plant the corn when time comes for that. So let's go make our new field. This is exciting. And the wheat's good. We still got about 5 months until that's ready, but wheat is coming in nice. Gonna get plenty of straw bales from there. That'll help with the TMR as well as after we get that manure pit installed. All right, so those of you who saw last video know that this was not this way at the end. I did take some liberties. These trees, we're not allowed to cut these down ever and make money off of them. But I felt like it made for a more natural feel here. I mean, just kind of looking at this entrance here, I think it just looks way better with the trees. And we're gonna see in spring how much better it looks. And I felt like this little cutout that we did here feels a little more natural. And we're talking a little bit ago about how I wanted to save some room for some structures. Oh, we missed a bale too. All this down here, straight ahead, is not gonna be the field. We are gonna reserve those areas for buildings, maybe productions, maybe more greenhouses. Definitely want more buildings there. I think it'll look great. So we're gonna line up here, get about 270, back up just a little bit here. And I don't want to get too close to the trees, so I think that'll work there. Now I did debate making multiple fields here, but I think what we're gonna do for now is just one big grass field, kind of like we just cut. But you can see here, we are just trying to go straight to respect that area that we want to get those structures added eventually. And you know, it would make sense maybe to utilize that space until the time comes when we have buildings there. But I feel like just getting some of these things into their natural long-term state is more my plan right now. So we're gonna sneak up towards this road. We're gonna give a little bit of respect there. Leave a little bit of grass in between the road and the field. And then once we get up top, we're basically just gonna follow the path that we created at this point when we cut the yard or the grass here last month. And just start turning, and then we're gonna not go all the way to that road because we wanna make a path there. Let's try to lock in around 90 degrees. There we go. Yeah, and that should leave enough room for that road to get extended eventually. Lots of land that was purchased, so this is taking advantage of it, just utilizing every square inch that we have available to us. And there's a couple areas where we could add some fields, and as money starts to become an issue here, we probably will be doing that. But we'll see how this treats us in a couple months, or about 6 months. Maybe it's 3 months when we'll get to cut it again, I forget. I think it might be 3 or 4. But we'll see how much better the yield is if we get more bales, if we make more money than we did from the first cut. But coming around here, we're almost back to the field, where we began the field, I should say. And that'll be a good outline for a pretty dang big field compared to the rest of them. So I think the soybean field might compare, but it's time to get focused and get this all done. And quite the cultivating session all complete now. This is gonna pay off. This is gonna work out just fine. It's just gonna take time to get to where we want to get, and that's the beauty of farming, is you got to earn your rewards. No instant gratification. Definitely does feel like a lot of wasted land here, but long term it'll make sense. And I am slowly moving the farmyard over here. That's why the equipment's just gonna kind of stay, and that area, the original farmyard's gonna definitely kind of go away. It's not gonna go away, but I'm thinking we might build a house there. Not 100% sure where I want my actual ranch to go, but that'll definitely be part of this playthrough. The only thing left to do in February is to get lime put down, and we could plant the grass and the corn in March. We'll go ahead and keep this here for now, and go ahead and get the spreader and see how much lime we have in stock. So I have a feeling we're gonna have to spend a little bit of cash on that. It's a good sized field. It's gonna need a lot of lime. Gotta maximize that yield bonus. We will be heading into the store. We only had 783 liters. Let's see what's going on here. Do we need more wood in here? We're looking good. We do need probably before we sleep to take care of that. Still a good amount of trees around here that we can process in there, but we're gonna get this topped up with lime and then head on over to the field and get it spread. Now, I'm not 100% sure 14,000 is gonna be enough, but it did cost us $3,100 to get this lime. So let's go ahead and get this all set up. Still struggling uphill with the spreader, but once the weight starts to dip down, we should be fine. This isn't as steep as the other one, so I was actually kind of surprised to see that we're stuck at 6 miles an hour. It's just dropping so much lime. Something I wish you could kind of adjust is we don't need to apply as much lime if we're going this slow, but it is what it is. So it is, you know, we almost used 1,000 already just climbing the hill. So we'll see, but let's get it done, and then we can get to March and start planting. And we did burn through just about 4,000 doing just the headland here, but we're gonna start the ups and downs. And now that we're gonna go east and west on this field, I think we'll have a better time with the speed. It's just that climb that was an issue, so we should be good. This first pass is gonna waste a little bit of material since it's overlapping, but that'll be all right. Let's get her done. And finishing the last pass here, I am glad we didn't run out. Saves us a little bit of money. I did buy probably one bag too much, but no issues at all. We will use it eventually. Well, it is the morning here in March, and we're heading up to the, what was the soybean field to get some corn planted, but we're gonna have a worker do that field. We're gonna stay focused on the new field ourselves. Once we get them started, we'll hop over there and we'll get started ourselves on the planting the grass. So this is all full, 630 liters. I think they're gonna need a little bit more, and we'll have to make a trip to the store for that when the time comes. Unexpectedly stopped. Wrong season, okay. It's not till April, I guess. I thought it was March. All right, so this, well, wait. We will start with the grass, which is completely fine. We are gonna use this tractor. I like it. Would be nice to double this up or triple its width, but I just don't think that we can afford that right now. And we're only going to be planting this grass once, so it's not that big of a deal. And it'll be interesting to see how this does fertilizer and seed-wise. We are completely out of seed at this point, but we do have a little bit of fertilizer left, so we could steal some from the planter this month if we really need to when it comes to seed. But let's get focused. Let's get this grass planted. And it should put the two grass fields on a completely different cadence, and there's going to be a lot of grass cutting in this series moving forward, but we're here for it. I think it's best for the storyline of Cattle Ranch, turning it into a full-on feed production, and any other cattle operation in this, county or within range would be buying their feed from us is the goal. I really start to feel how big this field is with this size of a seeder, and we're starting the fourth headland here, and we've gone through we have 80% still of our capacity, so I think we're gonna be good. I don't think we're gonna have to fill anything up, and bigger seeder would be nice, but like I said, we're not planting anything else yet with the seeder. When we get to the next wheat process, maybe we'll look at an upgrade then, but that really wasn't on our list at the beginning of upgrades that we need. So we're going to prioritize everything else that's really going to help with the hay, silage, TMR operation and get that up and running so we can start making a bunch of money off of it. And I think that's our path to get out of debt too. We're still getting about $1,600 a month of just the interest fees, as we're still in interest only on our loan right now. We haven't put a dent in it at all. We still have $500,000 to pay off. So a lot to do there. And I don't know, man, we're going to start seeing some money come in. I think it's going to be awesome. Headlands are all done. We are going to go to the top of the field and start the ups and downs. I like to be closer to the farmyard when we're done. Just a personal preference of mine, but this should start going a lot quicker here as we just lock in. Oh, that's a little speck we're going to have to come get on the way back, but that'll be all right. Lots of ups and downs to do. The payoff is soon. And finishing up a massive seeding session. This has got to yield better than the last cut, but the plan we have of building that TMR production and selling it to anyone who's interested is absolutely going to work. I am ecstatic about it. Let's back up and make sure we get this passed right. I think this plan's gonna really get us out of debt and have us flourishing on this farm. Can't wait to see how this grass comes in and get that first cut done on it. Just kind of taking a moment to enjoy what we've created so far. It's quite the process. It's coming together nice. I love it, guys. I see my vision. I can't wait for you guys to see it as well. Well, we're finally to April, being able to put the corn in the ground, and this year, this challenge, well, it might be multiple years, is going to be a little more difficult than anticipated. Didn't make a ton of money off the hay in that first go around, but we do have the new grass field coming in, and the other grass fields should be ready to cut this month as well, but I did want to prioritize the corn and the field next to us. It's got a ways to go. It'll be summer, late summer when we get to harvest that, but getting this stuff all prepped and all ready is the plan. We'll have to put some fertilizer down on this, and it probably would have been a good idea to do an application in March, but that time's already passed. We'll just keep focused on this and really just take it one step at a time as we earn money and make money. I know July's coming, so we got over $100,000 coming in from the soybeans and another cut of hay. We might start looking into that production sooner than later. That will allow us to make some silage instead of hay, because money is going to be needed, and we're not stopping until we're able to sell a good amount of TMR and make a ton of money off of it. We got to get that feed business up and running. That's the goal for this season. It's just going to be a little harder than anticipated. And another corn planting session. Well, our first one on this playthrough all done here. And plenty of seed in capacity. You can see in the distance we do have the mowing started. Decided to get that rolling while we were taking care of seeding here. And I did do a little crop destruction. Not seeding, but planting. Next, we need to put some fertilizer down, as we mentioned earlier. And this new area that we fixed is not getting cut this time, which is totally fine. But you can see a good amount of progress they've already made, doing their ups and downs at this point. But we're just gonna find a good spot for this for now. This is gonna get transformed here in a while, but money is the issue right now. So we'll become a lot more profitable here soon, but we just gotta fight through this phase and enjoy it while it lasts, because the hard work is gonna pay off. So we got solid fertilizer in here, 1,300 liters. I'm hoping that's enough for that field. We are gonna have to do 2 applications. So we'll keep going on the cornfield while we have workers help us on this grass field. We'll need to do the tedding next over here, as well as rowing and baling, and then we can get the weeding going. And I'm trying to decide, at that point I might probably switch over to the grass field and handle that myself. But away we go on getting this fertilizer blade down in a nice dark color. Tells us where we've been. This will get us to 50% on fertilizer, and in May we'll do another application of that to get us at 100. And we're finished. And I see a baby. I feel like this was a month early, but maybe it wasn't. So let's go ahead and head on over here and take a look. There's the baby right there, and there's another one. So maybe I'm a little bit behind here. Let's take a look. We have 2 10-month-olds, so they just haven't grown up yet. And production's looking terrible. What happened? We ran out of water and feed, which makes 0 sense, but we'll get that sorted out here. So we got a little ahead of ourselves. That's a huge mistake. They have pasture. They should be taking care of that. But let's go ahead. We're gonna put this fertilizer spreader away, and then we're gonna get some water, get that going, and we'll get a little bit of hay in there as well. But that might cause us to lose out on the reproduction next month. So we'll take a look at that once we get back over there. Big mistake not taking care of your cattle. Come on, man. The beef cattle are super important here. Want to keep them at 100% because we want to sell them, at least 2 of them, in a month's time. Bonehead move. I can't believe we forgot about that. It's a little sad. And perfectly safe to drive on this field right now. Let's go ahead and get them fed. And that should be enough to get us to be okay with driving back and forth to get some water. That bale should disappear here in a second. It's taking its sweet little time though, isn't it? So it looks like we can get 2 more bales in there. And they're eating more faster. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. And it might be time to start thinking about an upgrade to how we're storing and feeding our beef cattle. But I'll show the first strip of this water. We're not gonna show all of them because it is a little tedious. We head down this way, take a left down to the lake down here, and we'll just back on in and get some water. But this is part of the reason why we picked this plot to start with, is there's easy access to water for our greenhouses before we got the irrigation system installed, and also for the cattle. So that should be deep enough. And it might be time for an upgrade on this tank as well, but it would be nice to get one that could function for milk and water at this point and have a larger capacity, since we are going to want to start transporting milk around here pretty soon. All right, and we have arrived. Getting the water back in there. Well, like I said, we'll do multiple trips, but I did want to take a look at this first. Reproduction is at 90, but grayed out right now. These ones are getting through puberty. We'll see as time goes if health increases. It should. And we'll check in probably after doing the bales. And trying to make a good habit of checking the used market. A lot of... Oh. We need this, but we don't have the funds. That's sad. Going to get the weeder. Gonna get that job started. They're almost done with the grass. We'll get them swapped on to tedding once that is complete. And keep making progress. I think the weeder is still down here. One of the only things that hasn't moved yet. There we go. And a nice upgrade on this would be nice as well, but building this business out, this feed business, I think that's what's gonna really excel the growth of this farm. Is once we get income coming in from that regularly, we'll definitely be able to start upgrading equipment, get bigger fields, and then make even more money from that feed production or feed company. So that's the plan, and it looks like they are done with the grass. So we're gonna go head on over there, get them hooked up on the tedder next. And I did notice that the new area only had a 50% fertilization. We did mess up on that. So this isn't gonna be the full yield that we're gonna get on a normal cut on this field, but it should still help us get to those goals. And away we go doing the weeding. We're gonna trust the steering assist to tell us which lanes we haven't done. And that should be a good way to make sure we get all the weeds here. Eventually we might wanna switch to, you know, like I said, a bigger weeder to get this done a lot quicker. And that's probably a little too quick. Let's get it back down to 15. That feels comfortable. Making good progress. Getting close to just focusing on making money soon here, now that we got the cornfield planted. Let's keep on keeping on. And we are all done with the weeding. They got done with the tedding a while before we did, but it's time to get down there and get the rowing going as well as the baling. But let's check on these cattle first. It's been a little bit of time. It might make sense to wait till 1 o'clock, but let's see. Health's only at 7% now, so it's slowly going up. I don't think it was without water for very long. If anything, it was just overnight. So I don't know how I feel about that. But just time to drop off the weeder. I think we're gonna run, I like running this tractor better personally, so I'm gonna do the windrowing, and like we did last time, we'll have the International follow us with the baler. And away we go. Got the International behind us like I mentioned. And we are going to set our cruise control at about 9 for this. And that should allow them to stay up with us even with unloading bales and not lose the following. If they get too far away, if the distance they have to catch up is too far, they will stop following. So that's why we're gonna do it this way. And again, this saves me so much time by not having to do this twice, you know, row it once and then bale it the second time. I love it. And we are complete with the baling. I think we are gonna unload this one since it's 80% there. Let's go ahead and get that. And I think there's a certain amount I'm gonna wanna save for feed, and then we're gonna see if we have some extras to sell. And looking at all the lettuce, I kind of want to check the price there and see if it's worth selling as well right now. But let's get the bales figured out first and go from there. And I think what we'll do is our little trick we learned. This is too high to feed the cattle from it. So this isn't how we're going to want to do it most of the time. But if we pull in here, we should be able to unstrap this and just kind of go forward, stop, and they'll start falling down. And if all of these overfill it like it did, we should be good for the dairy cattle. Little janky way to do it there. So yeah, 50,000 liters. Let's grab this one just to make sure it's in the right spot. So that's another, what do we got? 4,500, 9,000. 13,500 that's gonna go in there. That should be plenty for them. And I want to get an entire trailer full for the beef cattle. So let's do that next. And we do have some over there. So what we'll do is we'll load these up, save them. And then why is it loading this way all of a sudden? And we'll figure out what we're gonna sell afterwards, is what I was trying to say. What we're gonna do is stack these around right here. Perfect. Pick up the other ones and then finish picking up what's in the yard there that we just cut and make a little bit of cash right now. And it looks like we're gonna get a full load here. We have the one partial bale and then the one we forgot about last cutting session. Got the partial one now just on our way to the farmer's market. We see the one in the distance. We're gonna grab that one and get these all sold. Not gonna be a ton of money, but every little bit is gonna help. And our total there is split into 3 numbers, but it looks like it was roughly 15,000. Just not making enough money quick enough for my liking yet. And we're gonna start paying attention moving forward. We lost about $2,000 on that because of the way prices were. And the wood beam we could sell, but it's not necessary right now. Lettuce also we would lose a good amount of money. So we'll hold on to that. We'll keep an eye though. Let's take a look at the greenhouse right now. You can see we have plenty of capacity still to hold those. The sawmill is inactive. No, it's not. Just running on wood beams is how we set it up. And we've arrived here to pick up some fertilizer. I grabbed 3 bags because we have 3 fields, but I don't think the grass field, the new grass, I'm making mistakes, guys. Big time mistakes. The new grass field that we planted, I missed doing the second application of fertilizer in April. So the yield's only gonna be so good because I don't think it'll let us apply it today, but we'll go try since it's already in technically a ready to harvest state. Actually, I know that won't work, so we're not even gonna try, but we are gonna put some down on the corn and the field we just cut. Gosh, gotta slow down. And away we go. Corn should come in nice. Again, we're gonna turn this into silage, so we need some equipment to help us with that. But if I keep making mistakes like not fertilizing our fields, it's gonna take a long time to get there. And this should complete the fertilizing session here in May. Next, we're gonna check on the beef cattle and see if they did have those babies and make sure the feed's good as well. Potentially gonna be selling the first beef cattle ever. I was hoping to get the butchery before that, but that didn't happen. The slaughterhouse, I guess, is what we're looking for. All right, we did end up having those new babies. They are out here somewhere. I think I see one of them, mama cow. And 0 month, there's one of our Angus babies. And I think I see another one over here. There it is. Looking great. All right, the big thing though is selling these. So they're at 39 months now, and I think that's time to get rid of these two. No animal dealer on this version of the map I'm playing on, so we are gonna do it this way. We're gonna come in here, grab these ones, and I think their values did start to decrease. So let's go ahead and select them. Do both of them, and we'll get $6,500 for that. Now we should be at, I think we go back in this way, yeah, 90% for these 10. So they're gonna give us 10 more babies and really increase the total. And the feed is going down a lot faster now that the other babies are growing up. So we'll have to get some more feed in here. Water probably could go another month. There's a lot of meadow for them to eat though, so I think water was the big issue there. But I'm gonna check around, see if there's anything else we can do in May to make some money, because I'm stressing a little bit. So we might as well make a little bit of cash off this wood beam. Just gonna be a grind, guys. And $8,700 from that one wood beam, and send it into June. Well, I've been sitting here for quite some time debating the next move. We got a wood beam, we have some lettuce. They're not at good price, they're at actually terrible price. Soybeans is gonna be close, but I think we need to get through most of today before we're gonna be able to pull that off. So let's just do a time lapse and you'll see what we're doing at the end. All right, I think that will do. Let's take a look at what our options are in here. So it looks like we can turn grass into hay, 124 cycles, but 2,000 per. So that's gonna be about 4,800 a night. Chaff into silage, as well as grass and straw. But we will be starting with grass to silage today, if we can get an auger or a forage wagon in time. So let's take a look at the prices on those. There is this $11,000 one with a capacity of over 30,000 meters, or 30 meters. So it should be 30,000 liters, I believe. And I just want something much larger long term, but this capacity doesn't seem terrible. And we would have to row everything up after we cut it, or we could wait and see if we can afford to buy the new mower setup before we actually get the cut of this yard here, this new field. Only 72% yield bonus because I messed up, but this is the first step here. I think this is gonna speed us up a lot when it comes to making money, because we can make silage now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the prices of soybeans. They're above peak right now. The farmer's market is well above peak. I think it's time. And that will set us up to be able to do the mower setup that we're talking about. And it's gonna be 2 trips, only 22,900 liters on this one. Get to test that new little road there. It looks pretty good. All right, let's go see how much money this brings in from our last fall's soybean harvest. All right, moment of truth here. This is a super important selling event. Gonna fund a lot of things for us here. 80,000 from the first load. Let's go see what else we have in capacity. I think it's another 12,000 liters? Maybe 9. Ooh, that's starting to look pretty cool over there. Getting more structures. It was 9,028 liters. We'll take it. All right, this should be another, 27,000 about? Yeah, 31,000. I did my math wrong there. We're at 140, so let's go back. We're gonna make some decisions. We are gonna double check the horsepower on this tractor and make sure it can handle the mowing setup that we want. Otherwise, we're gonna have to make another decision here. We have 224 horsepower. I don't think that's gonna be enough. This requires 220. And 110 on the front. What upgrades can we do? Let's go to our workshop. All right, let's see the options here. 31,000, we can get up to 302 horsepower. Boy, this thing is muddy. Let's do that. I think we're just gonna add the wide tires for now. And the obviously we got the horsepower upgrade, but let's get this thing cleaned a little bit because we're about to head into the dealership with that mower. Did it clean it for us? Because we did. Oh, did it really? Okay, now I need to know. Was it that muddy? Or does it just look like that? Oh, it just looks like that in here. Okay. But we should still clean it. Oh, we need to get the upgraded dual wielding one too. Yeah, we don't want them to know that we don't clean our equipment enough when we go up to the dealership. In case we start trading these in, they're gonna give us terrible value for it. All right, well, extra horsepower. This is exciting. Let's go grab the mower now that we have. We're gonna go sell it and buy the new setup. And that should, you know, really speed things up. We'll be able to actually mow a swath and we don't have to ted it. So we could sell the tedder as well. Make some more money. And the windrower. I am gonna keep the windrower in case we want to use that for straw. But let's try to hook up the tedder to the front here just to transport both of these. And I'm gonna take them both down to the workshop area. We're going to repair them at minimum. We'll clean them and repair them so that we can get as much money as possible when we do sell them. And we're gonna have to actually sell them at our repair shop now that I remember it. But then we can go pick up the new ones at the store. And I'm hoping a newer version of this map. I don't upgrade my maps because during a playthrough, I just don't risk it. So that's why we're still on the original version that was released of Comlands. Okay, didn't mean to do that. But let's sneak over here. We'll spray them down first and then we will do the repairs. Yeah, this thing was filthy. Only 4% damage, that's not too bad. No idea if we get more money for clean things when we sell them, but I think it's a good practice to have here. Looking good. All right, let's go in here. We're going to repair this. Only $9. Nice. And then we're gonna sell it for what looks like we can't sell these. So now we will come in here and find our items. Here's the first one. Here's the tedder. It looks like not as much money as we were gonna get, but that's what happens on this map. And we'll go here and do the same, 9,400. So it puts us back at 125. Let's head to the store now, the dealership, to get our new setup. Let's go see how the dealership's gonna treat us today. All right, so 14,000 for the front mower and 70,000 for the back. And while we're here, so we have 16, 26, this one's, we're just gonna try this. And this will be a starter. We'll definitely upgrade this long term, but I hope it works. I hope it works. All right, we'll come back and get that later. Eventually, we are going to be doing a lot of automation for this process, but the first time around, I'm gonna do it myself. Kind of the way I just wanna play it. All right, weight seems good. We're not lifting or anything. Well, let's get home. Let's get this new yard cut, and we're gonna have to make sure we treat it correctly this time around so that we get maximum yield bonus. This one will be disappointing, but it's a start. And away we go. This is nice. 13. Okay, we're getting top speed too right now. Glorious. All right, just follow the guidelines. And this was a wise decision for sure. Gonna make life so much easier here. Get locked in on that turn. All right, little cutting session, then we'll go get the forage wagon. And we'll see how it goes. Should be pretty good. Now, if this field does end up extending out this way, we might want to just get multiple tractors. So I think this is the ideal setup, unless we find different mods that are bigger mowers that aren't super cheesed. I want them to at least be realistic. So yeah, it would be sweet to just have multiple pieces of equipment doing all these jobs for us at the same time. But we're going to keep expanding and keep making these jobs bigger, so getting the right equipment's definitely going to be key to keeping them efficient, these jobs that we do. And we've talked about that with the corn. We're probably not going to be able to afford an actual forage harvester, so we're going to have to do the hard work, at least for a little while, with implements instead of the actual harvester. But we'll see when we get there. Maybe we could be amazed by the amount of silage we can make in the next few months and the money off of that. I don't think so. I don't think it'll quite be enough to get a decent forage harvester, but we'll figure it out. Positive vibes, tracking in the right direction. I think we're on the right path here, and we're on a path that's most likely going to help us get out of debt very soon. $500,000 is a lot, but it's tracking the right way, guys. Not bad, almost 11 o'clock now. We're getting this cut done. Then we'll have to go get the forage wagon, pick everything up, and see how much we can put into that new fermenting silo there. Exciting. I don't know how long it'll be before we make the money off of it. We'll have to learn how quickly it cycles through things, so it is a little bit more time consuming, but if we were making silage, we would be baling it up and waiting 24 hours either way, so should be really increasing our revenue. We made around 50,000 last time on this cut, even though this field's a little smaller than what we did cut. So it'll be interesting to see, even without that, 100% fertilization bonus, to see how we did here, but all complete. On to the next step. It's so bright in spring here. Well, I guess we're into summer now. Gonna need some shed soon. That's coming very soon. Once money starts looking a little bit better, we'll be able to get some protection for our equipment here. Kind of think we might want to get the wheel weights on this on these tires. All right, let's go get the wagon. Let's get this done. All right, just need to, ooh, a little slidey there. Activate this. And start picking up this grass. Seems to be doing good so far. And the capacity seems to be pretty good on this one, so shouldn't be stopping too much, but we're at 20% already. Imagine when we get about 25% more yield bonus, or at least 20% more. And here's our first load. So 30,300 per trip. And the proximity is not bad, so we're super close. So these back and forths won't take very long. Both our grass fields close to each other. Have the production right in between the two. Pretty nice setup. Truck is still in the way there. That's all right. So we're gonna drop this load. And then we're gonna get this all configured and set up and start making some silage for us. We do have some rain coming in, so we're gonna wanna prioritize getting this all done. $800,000 or 800,000 capacity. All right, so we do want to come in here, and from grass, we want to go ahead and activate this, and it is going to store it. We could change it to selling long term if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. Already 9 liters in there. That seems to be a pretty good pace. All right, let's get her finished. Well, we didn't beat the rain. I can hear it. I can't really see it, but it's coming down. It's starting to. We gotta keep busting through this. This will be our fourth load right here. So it seems pretty good, and I'm sliding around a lot, so I think we do need the wheel weights to like push us down to the ground a little bit better traction. But yeah, looking in here already, we're over 100,000 in grass and 1,300 in silage, and you can see already 400, max value here, $476 in silage so far. We'll take it. And you can see how much of the field left to pick up, and we're gonna pick this up, turn around, and possibly get the whole next pass. That's how good the yield is here, and it's gonna be even better. Very promising. I think we made the right calls here on the adjustments on the production here. We're gonna have the tiniest load for the last one here, but it's gonna be worth it. I lost track of how many. We'll take a look when we get there. After we get this next load dropped off, we'll drop this one off, pick up that tiny little bit. I'll cruise around the field a little bit to see if there's any droppings I missed. But yeah, let's just give you an update while we wait here. So almost 250,000. So well over once that that we're dropping goes in there. Yeah, to about 270,000 liters, and we did have a little bit already produce. Pretty awesome. Can we climb this? Can we climb it? Is it too steep? No. All right, let me get the last little bit. And then we're gonna move on to July, which is gonna be a jam-packed month. And 3,000 more, about $1,000 worth that we would have left out there. So I think it was worth picking up. We do need to get some fuel. I'll do that before July. We're gonna head straight to the dealership where the gas station is and do that next. But we can already see money's starting to come in, and already $1,400 worth of silage here. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Prices are above peak right now, so we'll see how they fluctuate. Not too bad. It does go up to 372 apparently. I think we will leave that. Well, is this able to load it? It doesn't look like it, so we will have to use the gravity wagon for that part. But man, it's coming down. We need to get some fuel. We need to see how much we have fertilizer wise, because we do need to treat that field in July. We also need to get to the harvest, the wheat harvest in July. And we're gonna be cutting the other grass field. It's gonna get busy. We'll figure it out though. We've got 10 new babies in here. We got a lot. Let's look at it this way here. We have 10 of the 28-month-old. We have 2 of the 12-month-old, 2 1-month, and 10 0-month. Things are improving. I can't remember if we've gotten any fuel at Buc-ee's yet. Yeah, just over $500 in diesel there. So let's go ahead and head home. I think we can rest. I'm going to double check that everything is good with all of the cattle. And then we're going to get to the big month of July. It is July. We do have some rain in the forecast. That looks like it starts around noon, maybe 11 o'clock. So what I want to do is I'm going to get this rolling on a worker to get the other field fertilized. And then we're going to have them do a course play to cut this grass. And we're going to attempt to get the forage wagon to work with auto drive, but I don't know if that's possible. So we're going to learn that today. Probably do a lot of off-camera testing for that, and then I'll show you if it works. But we do want to try to bust out this harvest at minimum here. So let's go ahead and get the worker going on that. And I want to get this on the gravity wagon. Yeah, and after this, we can start thinking about a silo bunker. Or not a silo bunker, a manure pit, and figure out if we can fit that over there. And I think on that side here where we have that little road is probably best. All right, the grass field is all done. So we're gonna drop this off, get the mower all configured and get going on the other grass field. And it was overnight, so before we start the harvest, I will take a peek and see how much silage we made. All right, they have started that, so we need to get rolling on the harvest. And away we go into the field here. We want to make sure that is switched on to swath dropping. And there we go. Need the extra straw, all the extra money. First time, I believe this is our first time doing the big field, the expanded field here. Should be good to see how much money we make off this wheat. We are going to rotate this to be barley next time around, and that's what we're going to do on this field. We're going to swap between barley and wheat, constantly make straw. It's going to be part of our TMR, which is going to be our big selling product for the cattle feed business. But looking pretty good. We got we should have our worker configured over somewhere waiting for us. Are they way up top? I think I have them at the wrong place. This was supposed to be weight 3. All right, and then over here we switch this to weight 3. All right, we should be good now. But they're doing good on the grass field as well. Some good progress there. Be interesting to see if we could get the automation to work with the forage harvester or forage wagon. The big question. And unloading for the first time here. See, we got about halfway around the headland, so this is going to be another wise decision we've made to make this field a little bit bigger, make it just 1 instead of the 2 that it was. Working great. All right, let's get back at it. Forgot to check on the silage. Let's look at the production. Yeah, so it's going to be a slow churn here with this production. We might want to look into getting multiples and split it. But if we look at time-saving stock check, we're up to only $15,000 on that. It's going to be okay. That's the benefit, or not the benefit, that's the downside to not using bales. And I wanted a production like that. I didn't want it to be OP. So this feels good. This feels right. It's gonna take multiple months to get through that. And the idea is once we, get into full production, it's always gonna be producing silage for us. Or hay, depending on what we need at that point. But I think what we're gonna do is cruise on to the other side of the field so that we can have the pipe out when we get full here and start the ups and downs. And we're erasing this rain still. I think we're good, but we might not be. All right, this is configured and working. So what we've done here is we set up the course, the same course that we used to mow the grass. And then you can see the configuration on the right for course play. We're doing the pick up and deliver. And the magic thing right here is this little button. So once it's near, which I need to rename, grass 1, it'll then pick up the course. And once this is full, it should go over to the fermenting silo, drop it off, do all of this without us. So let's get back over here. We're gonna need to recall our grain cart driver, and we'll be able to finish this harvest while the auto drive course over there and course play are playing together. And here comes our grain cart driver. We can already see that we do have 27,000, almost 28,000 liters of wheat just this far in. That's going to give us around $34,000 already. And we can see right now, everything that we could sell, 219,000. Looking pretty good. Lettuce is way up there, but it's not going to peak till February. We can see they are dropping off over there. So it is working perfectly. We can come in here and look at the production and see that it is going up. 247, 251. Man, I am an automation dork. All right, we should be able to just focus on this harvest and hopefully get done before the rain hits. Unless it's gonna hit at 11, then we're gonna have to take a break. Let's look at the weather here. We should be good. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't show us 11 o'clock. Not sure on that decision by Giants there. But if we pan over, we could see them going back into the field right where they left off. So I can focus on other things on the farm while we have workers take care of the tedious tasks like that. And just a small problem with the auto drive configuration right now where the grain cart operator is having to go all the way around the cornfield to get back here, which I will fix, but we'll get through this harvest with it the way it is. I'll do that off camera. Great progress. They're going to probably go back to the silo here after this one too. Now I'm quickly realizing we're gonna need a third tractor because next month I'm gonna want to do mowing, forage pickup, and take care of this field at the same time to speed us up. So I want to be able to move fast through these years, and that's kind of my thought process here and all the automation. But we're 29 minutes away. I think we're going to be able to pull off this harvest. If not, we'll have to take a little bit of a break, but they're doing an awesome job picking up that silage or the grass out there. What a cool process. Auto drive, absolutely my favorite mod. Well, the combo of auto drive and course play. Feel really bad for the console players. And the rain is hit, and there's just a tiny little bit up here to harvest, so we are going to take the yield loss on this little bit. I don't see a purpose in waiting. Let's go ahead and open the pipe though so we can get this unloaded as quick as possible here. And once we get locked in, we will finish this harvest up. And there's lots of improvements that I'm gonna make, like I mentioned, to our auto drive setup. Now that I really feel like I understand it, I'm probably gonna wipe out all of the courses and routes here and completely remake them in between recording sessions. Gonna be super efficient. Bigger farms, bigger fields coming to the SWU. What's my channel called? Farming Sim SWU channel. No warning though for yield loss. Interesting. And raise that, shut it off, and just wait for the operator to get here. And we're all done with this harvest. And a little bit to finish. You can see it looks like about 3 passes up there. Everything is coming together. And we can just hit this button here, send them to the silo for us. And we're gonna move the harvester finally to the new farmyard. And we're just finishing this up here. We got the last load of grass going in and the last bit of wheat going in at the same time here. And we'll take a look at our totals momentarily. Beautiful process. There I am, I'm in the tractor. But I'm right here. Creepy. And this is getting unloaded. And we'll go ahead and stop the course once they're done. All right, let's take a look at some numbers here. 69,246 liters of wheat, which is going to bring in around $84,000. And silage right now we have 49,000 liters, but if we look at the production, we still have 398,000 to go through to get processed. So I took some time to redo all the auto drive courses, and we have these little turnaround spots now that I'm indicating with just kind of changing the terrain and the ground to show that this is a pull-off area and then a nice loop that comes around like that to allow them to turn around in more areas. And then over here we have a couple good ones where we kind of lead into the silo here. We come off right about here and then loop around. But then this one also, we created a nice loop like this. There's multiple little options for them, so they can get to either side. Instead of doing it both directions, I'm doing, you know, one way on this side and one way on that side. And let's get in a vehicle and I can kind of show you that. Turn that on. You can see exactly what we're talking about with the turnarounds there and here. And we curved everything as well, so it should work a little bit better. But let's go ahead and hook up to this. And I did notice that if I back up completely here, we are able to dump the straw. So we're gonna fill this up with straw even though we don't have the manure pit yet. because we're gonna need it eventually, and we don't have a hay loft yet. But we're gonna get rid of the baler and just completely do everything with the forage wagon. So this is gonna hold up to 60. So we're gonna fill it up all the way to 60, and then the rest is gonna go in the fermenting silo, which I did make a change to as well. I increased its production by 10%, so I added a 0 here, but I also added a 0 to the cost. So it's gonna cost us 10 times as much to run it, but we're gonna get 10 times the production out of it. Just felt like that was a little too slow and wasn't really gonna work for what we're trying to do here. I'm gonna finish picking up the straw, and the rest of it, like I said, is gonna go into the fermenting silo and get turned into silage, which is a nice bonus from that production. And then we're gonna figure out a way, we're probably gonna sell the baler and see if that's enough funding to be able to buy a roller, because I think I might wanna start rolling the grass fields to increase the revenue on to increase the yield bonus. But first things first, let's get this all prepped and finished, and then we're gonna need to probably cultivate it in August, and then we'll plant some barley in it in September. Well, we got all the straw picked up, and now it's time to fund a manure pit. So we're gonna need the manure pit, or manure heap. Is that what it's called? Manure pit. So we're gonna sell this wood beam, and then we're gonna sell a decent amount of silage. It is producing a lot faster now, so we're gonna do some trips doing that. But we gotta get that built, and I have aspirations to turn manure and slurry into fertilizer and make money off of that as well. There we go, selling this. We need about $25,000, so we're gonna sell a little bit of silage. It is at a good price right now. It's just until we can afford some more equipment, it's gonna be a lot of trips with our little grain gravity wagon. So not the most exciting, but we're gonna spend the rest of July doing some trips to the farmer's market to make some money off of silage. And these lines here in the ground show me safe places to park that won't interfere with auto drive later, which is nice. So we will have to get I don't know if we can unload into this, which would be nice capacity wise. Doesn't appear so. So we'll use our little turnaround here. It was pretty sweet. So testing the new auto drive routes, it put the tire tracks down. So I was able to approximately, make those worn out areas in the grass match the tire tracks, which is pretty sweet. But also, I don't know if we talked about it. We got this new shed. It did cost us $10,000. Got everything kind of organized out here, and you can already see we're running out of space. So we're gonna need a little bit more, and probably some actual enclosed shed soon. I mean, that was almost really good. That'll work for now. But yeah, I think we'll try to fund the manure pit and probably a roller, because I do think it would be nice to get that fertilizer state, that extra 50% of fertilizer with a roller, and the rolling bonus seems to be a good plan. Now let's hope this does work here. It should hold silage, I believe. Yes. But you can see we have over 100,000, and we're only gonna get what, like 20 some per trip here. 22.9. Gonna be lots of trips. I think it's also time to make a course. It's where we can have a driver get us there and back. I'll do that off camera though. And selling the first bit here. Let's see what one of these tanks does bring in, or gravity wagons, excuse me. $8,154. Okay, so we'll just finish setting this up. We're gonna call this Market 2. And what we're gonna do is finish creating this track. We just got to connect these that are super high in the sky for some reason. And now I should be able to stop recording, and they can't reach. All right, we'll figure that out. I'll see you in a little bit. Just watching the process here. Once this load's sold, we'll be able to buy that manure pit and probably the roller. Well, the roller will probably need a couple more trips. But you should see they should follow the little track here. Right on the dirt lines, how we created it. Love it. All right, that's a little sharp, so they do have to slow down, but not bad. Now they're gonna head back over to the farmer's market and get that taken care of, and we are going to go ahead and take a look and see if we have enough. I think if we just flatten this a little bit, grab it about right here and come across, we might be able to do this without extra money. We'll see what that does. So we'll come in here to silos and manure heap. So we want to turn it, there we go, that direction. And it does say not enough money. So how much is it wanting to charge us? That'll be okay. Once this is sold, we will have enough, but they're gonna do that loop until we run out. And really, right now, that's gonna be a little bit because we do have 116,000 and they're doing 22,000 each trip. But that'll get our money up to 42,000 more to sell. I don't know if that's counting what's in the gravity wagon right now or not. So obviously at this point, we'll start making a lot of more money and be able to start upgrading our equipment to be able to do everything more efficiently around here. So let's see if we do have enough money now for this. Overlapping objects. So let's hit B and we're gonna sneak it up right to the building like that. And now we should be able to come in here and see manure. We do, perfect. So our straw is gonna go to good use now at this point. The next load, we should be able to afford this $17,500 roller because I have made the decision to sell the baler. So we're gonna go repair it and then we'll sell it, and that should give us enough money to get the roller, and we'll go pick that up. And we should be able to roll the grass and get that 100% fertilization state. And I think that'll be a good way to use less product on our fields and make money quicker. We'll get a better yield on that. So I think it's a win-win. Oh, we need to go this way for repairs though. All right, let's see what repair cost is gonna be here. $20, not bad. And then we can sell it for just over 6,000. And we're heading up to the dealership here. We should start seeing our dollar amount go back up. Here it goes. So that will fund the roller. Beautiful, what a process. All right, let's head on in here and get that purchase. Yep, $17,000 there. And 500. And let's get this back and we'll start rolling that field and make sure it's working. Give us that extra fertilization and also that extra yield bonus. All right, let's see how this tractor handles the rolling. I was thinking it was gonna be a little bit too heavy for it, but look at that, it is working good. We get that fertilized state and we should get the yield bonus as well. And we're just gonna cruise around like this while our employee makes us money by doing trips back and forth selling silage. And wrapping up the rolling, they still have a handful of trips to do with the silage before they're caught up, so we might pause that for now, but funding a bigger trailer is definitely going to be needed to make those trips a little bit more worth it. So everything's going awesome though. I'm loving this process. This farm is growing. We should be really escalating that after this year. Why does it say it needs rolled still? So weird. Well, after many trips, we have $86,000, and this is going to be a partial load, and I believe they're going to be waiting until it's full. 17,000, so they should just sit here and they're going to wait. And I don't know how often they're going to just kind of top and check. Like maybe if we turn this on, it doesn't tell us what they're doing. It says drive to load point still. But if we hop in here, we can see that there's 40 liters. It just took the 40. Now it's 105. So yeah, it's just gonna slowly take it till it gets to 100%. And I think we might let this last one fill up because it isn't taking too much longer. And then after that, we'll stop this process for a little bit and get to August. But money's coming in. We might be able to start chipping away at that debt at some point soon. Look at that just dripping in there. That's hilarious. 86%, 87. But I'll see you in August, the morning of August. It's August, we got the money train going again. They're gonna make us a ton of money this morning. Let's take a look at that production and see what it did overnight. Yeah, it did burn through all of it. So let's go ahead and shut off the straw for now, and we'll let the little bit of silage finish. And looking at time-saving stock check, we're gonna make $100,000. So we'll see how good they do today with that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna drive with this, we're gonna go into the store, and we're gonna buy a piece of equipment. The process is coming together. We're gonna be out of debt soon. We got a cut of the grass in the back there in September that we're gonna do. And in October, we're gonna do this one again. So money's gonna come in a lot faster, but I'm not satisfied yet. We're gonna keep growing, keep expanding, keep improving our yields. And we're going to the store for a yield improvement right now. We might even be able to buy a house soon, so we're not living in a tent anymore. Oh, I take it back. September, yeah, I said it right. September and October is when we'll be doing the grass cuts. So those will be the last 2 of the year. So we'll get one more cut on each grass field, and we also have all of this corn to make money off of. But that wasn't the goal. The goal was to be able to make TMR on demand and sell it. That's the plan, not just to be a silage selling company. We want to make actual feed that is top of the line for cattle. All right, it is time to show you what our next yield improvement purchase is. We're gonna go with the Bednar mulcher for a good, $35,000. It should work out perfect. That did eat into our money a little bit, but I think it's okay. We do need to check on the animals and make sure they have everything they need feed-wise. We're getting a little low on hay. So I believe we'll want to keep some, actually produce some hay this time around. And we're gonna have to get something that can deliver it to the dairy and to the, since we're not doing bales, and over here. We do have a good amount of bales left. Man, I'm ready to have enough money to move these cattle too. This is my least favorite part of the build right now, is this little triangle pasture here. We got plans, we just got to get to it. But as you've probably guessed, based on what we just did with the grass field and the rollers, we have ambitions. We are wanting to get to that 100% yield bonus. So we're gonna mulch this. In September, we will plant some barley. And then we're gonna buy a roller at that point to roll the field as well. And that should, in theory, we need to double check that we don't need a lime this time around, but that should get us to 100% yield bonus. And before this playthrough's over, these fields are gonna be so much bigger. We got a comment a while ago that I don't even know if I've responded to. I apologize if I haven't, but that we could possibly do a different wheel configuration on this to help with going uphill, improve the traction there. Let's go see what our options are. All right, let's take a look. Wheel setup, we could go with the duals. And I think that's what we're gonna wanna do, is the 4x4 duals for 500 bucks. Could do an umbrella, but I do like the workstation red there. Oh, white looks kind of nice. We could upgrade to the cab at this point. Half set, what do we want for the weights? I think we do want the full set. And the red top, we'll get that going. Engine setup. Man, tuned goes up to 350. We'll stay at 250. And we'll see how much this improves. What a beast. That might look better with the cab now, but I think that looks good. Let's see how it improves going up the hill. It may not, and that's fine if it doesn't. And we're almost all the way up the hill, so we won't know until the next time around, but we will know soon. That does seem to have fixed it, because that is pretty steep still. And it is not struggling. Great suggestion. Thank you so much. business is a booming. We're continuing to make money as we're getting this mulching done. We're up to about $120,000. Basically, from now until the end of this series, we're probably going to have somebody selling goods for us is the plan. I mean, we're going to run out here in a little bit and have a month break, but for the most part, we're going to be spending a lot of time selling goods, and that's a sign of a good business is if we can constantly get it to the point where we're always making money. That's the plan. And that seems to be what's happening right now. We're gonna put the mulcher away. We're gonna get the cultivator, get this field cultivated. And I do wanna check on the lime state to make sure we don't need to do lime. Let's actually take a look now. Needs rolled, that's it. All right, so yeah, let's get the cultivator out, get going on that while they're still selling silage. And then we will get to September here to do another cut and get the barley planted. We need more shed space already. Well, being that it's only 11 o'clock, I think I am going to do some fertilizer. So we'll get our first application of fertilizer down here, and then we'll do the... Well, can we do this before cultivating? Let's find out. All right, let's stop. Let's see if that's actually applying. It is. We're going to get this done, then we'll do cultivating. All done with the fertilization. Now we'll get to cultivating. This is awesome. 100% yield bonus on these fields is going to be sweet. This state looks awesome too. I don't know if I've ever done it this way. Pretty cool. And away we go. The last thing to prep for planting. Just get this soil turned over here with the cultivator, and we should be good in September to get some barley in the ground. The balance is up to 144,000. And sorry for all the background noise. We do have some renovations going on in the house, and I got to record when I have time to record, so I do apologize for that. Hopefully we can edit most of it out. But yeah, now that we're making a decent amount of money, we're going to be looking into upgrades on everything as we can. A bigger cultivator, bigger tractors, bigger everything. And all 3 headlands done. And I believe that's the last full load. We're gonna get a silage, so our amount's up to 160. They should be coming back for a partial load, and I'll have to help them go on their way because they are configured to wait till they're full like we just saw a little bit ago. But we're gonna do every other pass here and work our way back up and down the field. And at that point, we'll be prepped for September. Well, it is September and we are getting ready to cut this grass again. We're gonna do this one on a worker. We're gonna keep prepping the barley field, but I want to get this going on a worker real quick. So we are going to do course play on this. And I do, yeah, 2 headlands should be good. Let's go ahead and generate the course, and then we're going to sell it. We're going to come in here to tracks. We're going to add another folder. We're going to call it grass 2. And I don't know why ASS, it doesn't like it, even though it's a single name. Silly. So we're going to save this mow pickup like that. And this should work pretty good. We will end up having them pick up the grass and send it to the fermenter. So we'll have them going on that, and we're gonna switch over here. I don't think we have enough lime for this, but we're gonna give it a shot. See how close we can get before we have to spend money, and still struggling uphill with this tractor. It's actually not bad going 9. I just wanna see how much quicker it is over here. Yeah, the ground's going to cause it to go a little bit slower. The field, that is, the cultivated state. But let's go ahead and get locked in, and we will get some lime put down. And once we run out, we will head on over to the store and get some more. But I want to be careful with money. I do have a lot of things I still want to purchase. Yeah, boy, once we're ready, I think that corn has grown enough to be able to chop it. But we'll see when we decide to do that. That's the big job I've been kind of putting off, and the field doesn't seem too big, but money's not going to be there to get a big forage harvester, so we'll have to be creative and hope to find maybe an old used one. We'll see. But let's get this done. It looks like we're definitely going to run out, so I think once I get to the road here, I'm going to go in and buy maybe 8,000 liters worth of lime. And finally made it, getting this 8,000 liters of lime picked up. I'm really delaying getting to that corn harvest, but we're going to get to it. I just... Let's look at the store, and I'm going to show you what we are eyeing on purchasing here. We did find a mod, and I think it'll work out great. It's only $25,000, but the combinations, it doesn't have the header. Maybe if we go down this way, we can find it. Yeah, in here. There it is. All right, so we could pick up that header, and then we could also eventually do straw and grass with this if we really wanted to. And a bigger operation. Actually, that might work better long term if we had a couple wagons following around the forage harvester, even to pick up the grass. So we'll see. That's what the plan is, though. Just got to get through September here. And what is the state of that field? Yeah, so if we did it in September or October, it would be completely fine at this point. And I do have a grand plan of where we're going to expand, and these fields are going to be huge. And forgive me if I did mention that in a previous segment, but just kind of itching to get to those plans. And I was debating not crop rotating, and now I'm kind of thinking through it. I just don't think I want to do corn in the field that we're putting the lime right now because it's just not as large. So we're gonna get a ton of silage out of that, and I'm thinking the grass cut right now, we're gonna start prepping towards making TMR. So once we get that into the production, I might split that to be half hay and half silage. So I'll have both of those features or both of those outputs activated on the production. And gosh, there's more rain. Does that mean they need to stop? I don't think that affects grass, but I could be wrong. And in real life, it definitely would. We would stop mowing right away. Let's check the forecast real quick. Yeah, let's go ahead and pause them real quick. We're gonna back them up. We'll go to nearest waypoint. We're just gonna get through the storm. That definitely means the corn's probably gonna have to wait till October to get chopped. But either way, I think we'll be fine. And this should be, gosh, it'll probably be 12:30 when we can get back to work here. Yeah, about 12:30, we'll start slowing this down. And it's gone. You know, if real life worked that way, it would be interesting, but there's a movie about that called Click, and if you've seen that, you kind of know how it turns out. So maybe you don't want real life to be that way. But let's get this lime put down. Hopefully this is enough. And then we'll get to get the seeder out here and get some, I think it's barley that I want. Yeah, we did wheat last time, so we'll do barley this time. And that'll give us some straw for making TMR. And I'm kind of impressed with myself right now. We bought the right amount of lime for once. I'm getting these little areas that we missed, and then that little speck up, it is a decent area up in front of us. But we definitely have 1,000 liters here that we can burn through, so yeah, right amount. Look at that. A little proud of myself. And we are done with lime. Time to get the seeder all prepped, get some barley in the ground. And we'll check on the grass field. Oh, we can see they're getting close to being done. About 4 more passes there. Gosh, I love the way this is turning out. I love wilderness builds. Man, they might get done here before we get set up, though. It looks like there's a wider area up top they're going to have to maneuver around a few times. And this is definitely not enough seed. And I think this is all we have, so we're going to have to head to the store again. I might take the truck this time so we can get there a little bit quicker. But let's go ahead and get this part put in. A little bit of fertilizer here. Oh, that'll help. Yeah, let's definitely go get some seed. And by the time we get back with that, it'll probably be time to swap out the case onto the forage harvester. Forage wagon. Why do I mix that up all the time, guys? All right, we spent a little bit of cash here because I wanted to, make sure that we have a decent amount of products at home. Tired of driving back and forth. So 4,200 seed and 4,000 fertilizer should last us a good amount of time. At least the seed should. I don't know about the fertilizer. Ooh, we get to use this road for once. Not a lot of opportunities to use it. I love it though. Sneak on up over to the International here and get it filled up with seed. Let's hop in here. Should be able to just do that. Yeah, let's make sure this is switched to barley before we forget. Oh, and they finished work just in time. Believe this is the one we want. Get that activated. This turned on to first waypoint. Now, once they get over there, will this just automatically start? Because we do have this set up correctly now. They should head out to the field. Yeah, you see, the paths that we created just line up so good. I love it. So they're here, driving to load point. And once they get here, drive to load, and then course play automatically kicks on. What a process. All right, so we can start focusing on this. Get to pick and choose the jobs we enjoy the most to work on. And boy, let's look at options real quick. I'm trying to figure out which seeder we already have here. So ours is 3.7. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to unload all of that stuff. No space. All right, let's move forward a little bit. And we're gonna go in, well, we're just gonna sell this from here. And we're not gonna get the biggest upgrade. We are gonna go with this one though. I don't know what this back thing's for. Is this for another seeder? But this is one we're gonna buy. It looks like they've already dropped off a load of grass as we're chasing our seeder. What is happening? All right, filling up the new seeder. We got it on all over here now. And we wanna switch to barley. And let's get the auto drive menu out of the way there. And this doesn't, it says it was way bigger, but it doesn't. Does it seem like it? Did we not do the full, did we just mess up? I don't think so. All right, well, I don't think that that was actually an upgrade, guys. And it is, no, is this one of those? All right. I don't like this one. We'll take a little loss on it. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Great Plains. And we do want the distribution unit. All right, I think this is a good decision for now. It was, you know, $55,000. It did cost us a decent amount of money. And it's a nice little upgrade. I think it's only like a meter or two wider. I think it's only a meter wider. But I kind of made an impulse decision there and realized that most of the seeders aren't that much wider than those ones without getting a lot more horsepower, so we'll go with this one. I actually like it better. I just wasn't a fan of that other one, and it was supposed to be no-till. It wasn't. This one I don't think is no-till either, though, is it? It is not. So we're, you know, the same boat, but different equipment. A little bit wider, should be a little bit quicker. But we need to, once we start heading down the field, I am going to get that production turned on once we're locked into place here. There we go, and we're going to get this back down to about 13. But yeah, let's hop in the menu here. And we have a decent amount of grass getting dropped off. So I am gonna go here and activate hay. And I'm gonna come down here and activate, well, we're gonna just do hay on this one because we got the grass that's, or the corn that's gonna turn into silage. And in October, we should be able to do the other field again. So we'll do that one just hay. TMR coming very, very soon. Now we'll be making decisions on what we're selling instead of selling everything. That other run was just to kind of see how things were going with the first few runs there of that production. But now it's time to get into save what we need for our own farm and then sell the excess. And done with the headlands here. 3, you know, we'll have to probably get some more seed, but this is, oh, I guess it says it wants 1 more headland. How many did we set this up for? 4? I think we could, yeah, we'll just do it. It's fine. But yeah, making good progress here. They're making great progress back on the grass field as well. I really love farming this way, guys. So cool. Like I mentioned, I'm an automation dork. Now starting the ups and downs. And we'll have to go get some seed. We'll actually bring the truck over here to refill it when the time comes. And it'll be interesting to see who gets done first. I have a feeling it's going to be, well, probably us because they have to stop at the silo so often. Yeah, 64 liters. I think it's a good time to get seed. And I did want to kind of enjoy the process that the automation's doing right now. So we're going to fill up this fertilizer, go get some seed, but then we're going to do a quick little enjoyable time lapse of the forage harvest. The forage wagon picking things up. And here they go. We're gonna find a good spot to enjoy this from. Enjoy. Just a sweet process to watch. You see them loop around here, take a sharp turn, and head back to the field. And this should be enough product to finish this field. We're gonna buy a roller. We're gonna also get the weeds taken care of, so there's a lot still to do. Let's go ahead and get locked in, lowered, activated, and back at it. I'm kind of just reflecting on the first 4.5 years so far and comparing it to the SWU Farm Series. It's a different approach here. We started in debt, $500,000. We're still in debt, and we're growing slower because we didn't go hard at the wood productions, and that seems to be the key to a lot of this, is getting some productions that are constantly making money. We do have the lettuce, but we didn't go as hard on making sure we could secure money monthly like we did on that series, and you can see the difference. And I love the fact that it makes it feel like a completely different playthrough. The pace is different, the amount of time it takes to earn equipment is a little bit longer on this one and a little more rewarding. They both are very rewarding to me because we're earning everything, but just kind of reflecting on it, and it's nice to have these series that are time frame around the same amount of time in the gameplay, but at different phases of building and growing because of the different parameters that we're using. I don't know, just reflecting a little bit. I think it's fun to do that every once in a while. But we're running out of daylight. I'm kind of worried we're going to be able to get this rolled in time, and I was kind of hoping the case got done to be able to do that, but we might be doing a rolling session at night, and we'll do the weeds in October. Felt like we're a little behind when there's this many jobs to do, and we probably should have spent a little bit more time prepping this field last month. We should have done the lime instead of that fertilizer, but we'll learn, we'll adjust, we'll be fine. Well, that was a grind. We got it done though. We're gonna get the weeder on here real quick, and then once they're done, and they're super close to being done with the grass, we're gonna go buy the roller, but I figured we'll get the weeding going first on this tractor, and then the rolling can go right behind it, even if they're still in process with it. And I did slow down time so we can get it all done in September, because we got a lot to do in October. And looking over here, look at that timing. Look at the timing. They finished their work. We'll drop off this last load for them, and we can instantly go to the store and get that roller. We'll check into capacity over here and see how we did though, as well. And grass rolling needs to get done as well. All right, that's all deposited now. Let's take a look at the production. So we have 250,000, that's not bad, and they've already burnt through 58,000, so that gives you an indicator of how well that is going. And for 46,000, this is the roller we're gonna go with. And I don't see any reason why we can't do the weeding and rolling at the same time. So we'll get that going, and then we need to roll the grass field like we mentioned, so gonna be working into the nighttime, I believe. We gotta make sure we got water over here and food, as well as feed for the other cattle, which I think they're pretty good. We did load that up with a bunch of hay over there, so we'll just need to check on that one before we make it October. Check on the beef cattle, and we'll just go ahead and get rolling here, literally, and away we go. Again, I don't really see much of a state change here, so we do see a little bit lighter, so that should work out good. We're gonna do a couple rolling sessions here, probably mostly off camera, and I will see you in October. It's October. We are slowly going to be working on making sure we have enough money to get everything we need to do this corn harvest, the chopping of the corn. $50,000 right now. Lettuce has hit its bottom. It is on the way up, not quite climbing yet. I want to take a look at wheat and see if it's worth selling a little bit of it, but I feel like it would make sense to start buying what we need to buy first. And the first thing I want to do is make sure the gravity wagon is going to work. And if not, we're going to have to make a change. And taking a look here, it looks like it will work. Okay, so I kind of want multiples though. So we might just get started with it the way it is. And with the case doing the grass right now, once we start dumping that in there, they're going to make that silage. You can see we did pull a little bit of the lettuce aside, so we still had room for those to spawn, so it didn't stop the production there. But we have a lot of money in lettuce, so once that price does increase, we should be beyond set. So let's go ahead right here. We're going to open this up. We want cornfield, and we're going to want firm. So we'll go ahead and get that rolling. But then we need to come into the store here, and we want to go to the forage harvesters. We are going to grab this John Deere, and I think everything as is. What's the decal? Do we want that on there? I don't think we want that on there. Okay. Wheels and flags. We got the blue flag, which I don't see where that's going. That seems like it's no money, and I don't see anything. So we'll leave that off. Let's go ahead and buy this. And it's only 4,000 for the header, which is amazing. So we'll have this set to cornfield. And seeing this now, I don't know how we're gonna feel about this. We could pull a trailer with this as well. Definitely something we could do. This will be my first time doing this with, oh, it looks they're already coming towards us. I was gonna say with auto drive, and they did recognize the pipe being out. So they are coming towards us. We're gonna have them just wait right there. We'll loop around and we'll start with that headland there. Yes, the pipe is working. So we come right here. This thing goes 30 miles an hour. That is awesome. Oh, it's so loud. And it is not harvesting everything. What the world? It's just doing the outside rows. And not unloading. Okay, on to plan B. We'll go ahead and get this sold. And we're gonna get our full refund. That's why you test mods before you record. All right, so that mod didn't work. What is our next course of action here? So what I understand, we need $85,000 for this, and then $63,000 for this. We got ourselves in a little bit of a pickle. The good thing is the width doesn't necessarily matter. So we have to make a decision now. Do we finish cutting the grass and then get to that when we can, or what? Or do we, gosh, what do we do? We need a lot more money. Well, let's look at it this way. The corn should be good in November. So we will just focus on the grass here in October. The prices of pretty much everything should be up higher in November. So if we look at our wheat, we're getting closer to being comfortable selling it, and it'll be interesting to see how high the lettuce will climb. Other than that, we could sell a bunch of hay, but it's also nothing's at peak price. So we overspent. Probably shouldn't have bought the roller yet, but let's go ahead and get this grass done, and we'll get to November where we have hopefully an opportunity to have a little bit more money to pull that off. And away we go at picking up the grass. We'll get that in. We're gonna turn this into silage. Coming to the realization that we're gonna be able to sell some TMR, maybe if we make enough money by the end of this year, but we're not gonna be making a ton of profit, and we still need to make a lot more money because there's a lot of upgrades that we need to make this more efficient. So that's what we're gonna be focused on. We are gonna hit that goal of selling some TMR by the end of this year, but it's gonna be close. We're gonna have to sell some things a little bit early, but those are the decisions to make when we're trying to get this business off the ground. And then next year we can really work on making it even more profitable. So prepping to sell the lettuce here, we would lose around $38,000 if we sold it now versus waiting until it's at peak price. But I feel like getting to the market with our TMR operation is more important than that $38,000. Ooh, I don't know what that was. But we're gonna hold it right there for a minute. We're gonna keep on working on this stuff. And I'm gonna keep checking this. It still says it's going down. I don't believe that's true. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. And towards the end of the day, when we get done with this, we're gonna take a double check because we need money. We need more tractors. We need a lot of stuff. And before we forget, let's get this production back up and running with the silage. We'll activate that. We have 31,000 in hay. I don't think we'll get 31,000 in silage here, but we'll definitely get a lot from the corn when we do get a chance to finally chop it. And since this is the only thing we're doing, I do feel like I could get this done quicker myself, so I will be taking over. All finished. That wasn't too bad, but we are getting about half as much silage or grass from this field as we are from that field. We do know that now, which makes complete sense. And now it looks like the last thing for us to do is just a little rolling session here in October. And then we'll get to figuring out what we want to spend the money on, not spend the money on, make the money off of. We know we do have that lettuce prepped, so I'll be checking here momentarily how much the prices have gone up here in October and see if we need to wait till morning or if we can feel comfortable getting those purchases made so what we need here at sunrise in November. And last pass here, rolling the grass. That rhymed. Didn't mean to. But that should sum up everything we need to do in October, except for sell some things. We will check the prices. They are going up, but I think it might be best to wait till morning so we can maximize what we do get out of these items, since we're going to be selling them before peak prices. So that's the plan. We'll check on the cattle, make sure they have food. Everyone should be good because I just did that in between September and October. So I think it's probably going to be just time to get to November and get started with selling some items and try to get to that harvest as soon as possible. Well, it's pretty dark. These prices, they're about as good as they're going to get right there. That's $160,000. So we're going to let the daylight get here and make some purchases. And we're going to, have some time to kill till this rainstorm's gone. So let's get some fuel. Need some diesel in this. That was about $500. All right, let's head on over here. Let's get the essentials purchased. See how much money we have left. Because a second cart and tractor would be great for this. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's in the funding. So we are going to purchase this here and the combination right there. And that is what I wanted to find out. Right there. And we'll try this 1 ton. 1 ton weight. That was hard for me to say. All right, let's drop that, hook this up, and see if it's enough weight to counterbalance that. That's still not, I didn't even check the horsepower requirements on this stuff. We might be completely screwed here, guys. 375, yeah, we're not gonna be able to do this. The header we could keep, even for a forage. Yeah, oh man. Let me think through this. All right, we're gonna give this a shot, but we're gonna have to adjust the auto drive course on here. So let's go ahead and do this. Distance from combine, we're gonna go 3.5. We're gonna try that. And we'll see, they should fix that. Clearing crop, waiting for call. Well, let's go over here. We'll go close the pipe. Reset the pipe. I'm sure the problem's gonna be going uphill. Why is it not staying 3.5 meters? I don't get it. Every time I make these adjustments, it doesn't respect it. All right, let's see if this adjustment worked. Still wants to be right next to us, which just doesn't work. And the Brent's not heavy enough. Okay, we're going to just do a regular old corn harvest this year, but we need to buy a header. And I think that's the best. Oh, I thought I just did crop damage. Good thing it was the first month. We'll make money off of the corn, which will be good still, but next time around, the forage harvester is definitely, well, we got that equipment, so a heavier tractor with more horsepower is definitely on the list. Or we could sell that stuff. We'll see. Try not to get too down on my lack of planning there. Thought we'd have a little bit more cash at this point, but we got to get by. We got to do it. We got to get there. And whatever it takes is what we got to do. All right, that brought in another 8,700, which gives us enough money for the $53,000 we need to buy what's going to be a beautiful yellow header that's going to go on our John Deere harvester. This doesn't look ridiculous at all. It looks just fine. A little sad, a little disappointed, but like I said, we'll get by. We'll make it work. Let's get the grain cart over here. We got all this equipment to the left that we're gonna figure out what to do with long term. Right now it's just gonna be lawn decorations, but when all is said and done, I don't believe that'll be wasted money. I think we'll be completely fine. And $8,000 in the bank, but we have a decent amount of money to still make. We got to figure out a way to buy a feed mixer, because that's going to be the key to hitting our goal for this episode and selling some TMR and officially launching our new feed business. There we go, getting unloaded for the first time. Perfect. Oh, we got to fix something though. So we needed to empty that so it can unload the corn. All is good now. Where is he going? And taking a look at corn prices, this is not going to be good till June, so we won't see the return on this as soon as we were hoping. But that'll be all right. Getting unloaded here for the first time, and now that we're in a good system here, should be able to speed up this harvest finally. Yeah, and those of you new to the channel, I absolutely show the good and the bad and the ugly. So that's why there's a lot of mistakes being shown in this video instead of me just kind of editing that stuff out and making it look like I'm perfect, because we're nowhere near that. Here we go, unloading on the go. This is what's going to make this a pretty quick harvest. Now I'm interested to see how well this is going to work now that we have the courses rewritten and designed to be a little more efficient. We're going to turn around and then they're going to get quickly to being full. So what I'm hoping is they're able to unload us, give us enough capacity for them to go unload at the silo, and then get back to us without us stopping. That's ideal. The best way to do that is to have more than one grain cart operator, but we might be able to pull that off on this field. We'll see. 85 should be their trigger, so once they're done unloading us here, they're gonna go to the silo unless they get to 100 before. Then they'll go right away, which is right now. We might as well close this. They're calculating their route. Let's see what happens. I have a feeling we are gonna have to stop, but it shouldn't be for too long. All right, they're going the quicker way. Perfect. Now for console players, the way that I typically do this without auto drive is I will just run the grain cart and have a worker on the harvester. I'm sure a lot of you do that already. All right, they're going to their spot. Gonna start heading to the silo now. Definitely not efficient enough, but it'll be all right. And we didn't have to wait for too long. Not bad. Pretty good process still. Be even better when we get all the equipment that I want on this farm. And this should be our second load of the Brent here. Cruising in. I think they're about 70% right now. All of this will not fit, or it might actually. It would be ideal if it all fit, and it's gonna. Perfect. All right, they should go unload that, and then once they're back in our vicinity, we'll call them again. But this one might work out a little bit better than it did last time. Oh yeah, this worked out much better. They're already back doing their calculation to get on over here. We're at 85% full. Should work out just lovely. Oh, they mess up. They're gonna have to turn around. Oh, come on, you can do it. Yes. Oh, no. That sucks. They were so close. We wouldn't have had to stop. I'm just looking at my failures in front of us. It's been a rough year. Not all of them are gonna go smooth. Simulating real life here. And finally done with the nightmare that turned into our corn harvest. We'll get this unloaded, get everything sent on over to the silo, and we'll see what our grand total is at that point of corn. And the harvester is put away for the year, making a lot of clanking sounds. We're just gonna head on over to the silo as our worker is headed this way right now and see the grand total of corn. Lots of lettuce still yet to sell, and wheat, before we know how we did for the year. And coming in hot. Beautiful. A little call to action here. Let me know if you think we should just focus on grass and not even worry about the extra expense of a forest harvester and sell that equipment that we bought today, or should we push through it and actually get that process going? Because I believe if we get to that point where we're just doing all of our silage with corn and all of our hay with grass, we can really maximize the profit here. And the fields are going to get bigger too. So, oh, looks like we need to shut this production off too. No need to waste money there. We have 172,000 in silage and 311 in hay. Would have done a lot more silage if I knew that was going to be the case. We would have had both of them activated the whole time and it would have been a nice 50-50 split, but that's not the case. But let's go ahead and look in here. 65,000 liters in corn, which at peak price, according to Time Saving Stock Check, is around $100,000. And looking at just the things we can sell, we have just about $400,000 in goods. Not bad, not bad at all. All right, we're gonna start the process to sell some wheat. The second we have enough money, this is what we're eyeing. Let's take a look right here. $55,000. We want this for our local. This is what we're gonna use to feed our own cattle, TMR. We're also gonna use it temporarily to sell a couple loads to call our plan complete. So I'm gonna get this going. They're gonna head on over to the farmer's market. I believe they're gonna turn around right here. Nope, they're just gonna do the full loop, which is fine. So it says 2.5 minutes. And this should be close to enough. We might need that second load beforehand. And keeping an eye on other goods. Let's take a look here. We lose $6,000 on lettuce. I'm gonna see if we can make enough money off of the wheat before we make a decision on selling anything else this month. Now, I don't believe this is gonna be enough. I think we are gonna need at least the second load, if not the third, but we do have enough money coming in from wheat. I just wasn't sure if this is gonna be enough. Let's see. All right, 27,000 here, we're up to 30. So that means we're gonna need another full load. And while we're waiting for them, they are on their way now. We're gonna go reconfigure this to only have 2 wheels in the back so that it can fit into the dairy cattle enclosure, and then we're gonna head to the store and buy the mixer. Money's going up, so about the time we get to the dealership, we should have that 55,000 that's required. Should just leave us with a little bit of cash left over too, before they sell the rest of the wheat, and we officially have enough money. It should stop here in a second and let us know where we're at. Yeah, so we have a little bit left over. Let's go ahead and get this purchased. $55,000. There we go. That's a big boy compared to this tractor. But this tractor is getting really close to being retired and just doing little jobs like its full-time job might be feeding the cattle long term. Let's get this home, get that first mix made, get the enclosures filled up first, the barns, get the cattle, our cattle, all the feed they need, and then we will do at least one trip to sell some TMR. All right, it'll be interesting. Let's see how quickly this fills up. We're gonna do hay first. And once it gets to 50% or close to, I'm gonna stop it. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, we'll go right there. And now if I hit R again, I should be able to switch to silage. And we should get a good mixture here. 24,000 liters of TMR. Look at that, total mixed ration. We could make it a little, where are you going there, forage wagon? We could make it a little more efficient once we get straw and some mineral feed. Mineral mix, what is it called? Mineral feed? This will be a good start. Let's go ahead and sneak on in here. The height is perfect for that. And I don't think they're gonna take all of it, but we'll give them as much as we can. Lovely, they might take it all. Oh, they're hungry. All right, let's go make another mix. Super easy process though. This is why I wanted to set it up this way. I mean, in reality, you could even do auto drive for this kind of stuff too. More money coming in too. Look at that, that's lovely. To about 50% here with silage, and then we'll stop. I'm actually gonna go to about, 43, that should be good. And then we'll switch this over to hay. Total mixed ration, beautiful. And we'll finish feeding the dairy cattle first, and then we'll take the remainder over. I assume there's gonna be remainder. If not, we can always make another load, another mix, I guess. And cruise on in here and top them off. I think their feed was getting pretty low. 5,000 should be more than enough to go over to the other pasture over there. Boy, this is lovely to drive in cab view. Sun is starting to set here on December year 5. After feeding the cattle here, there's just one more thing to do to wrap it up. There's our beef cattle. A little bit of hay left over that we might try to just put into that silo. And let's see how this works here. Oh, we just missed the trigger. Picky, picky. And there we go. Let's top them off. Oh, it's on the other side. Whoops. Are they... What is happening? Why is it doing that? All right, well, that's going to live there until we find a way to pick it up. I don't know why I put it on the ground. That's hilarious. But let's get a full load. We're going to get it sold. The prices are not peak right now. They peak in May. Let's take a look at that. So right now it's at 374, but it peaks at 447. So it does pay a little bit better than silage, but we're not really doing this to maximize the profit. We're more doing it because that's what we want the business to be, is selling TMR. So no more silage selling. It's going to be total mixed ration is what we will sell to make money as a feed lot here, or a feed production, feed business. And I think our other, I think they need our help here. Let's go ahead and send them on. They only have 500 liters to sell for the last load, but that'll be, $500 that we need. And the fact that we do have a lot more hay than silage, I am going to try to min-max this a little bit. We're going to go to 20% on silage here. Let's do 25. That'll work, 27. And then we'll do the rest hay. And hopefully, that does work. We could have gone with even a little bit more. I think we could have gone at the 25%, but let's follow our employee here. They're gonna get there way before us, but we're gonna get our first sale of TMR to officially call year 5 complete of Cattle Ranch 25. If we take the shortcut, can we beat him? I don't think so. He's got so much more speed than us. Yeah, he's gone. See our little dollar amount come in here from the wheat. There it is, $640. They're gonna head on home, and we're gonna get this goal finally complete for this video. Oh, can we not sell it here? Oh, the farmer's I went to the wrong place. Wait, it says animal dealer, that's why. Okay, that's not stupid, I'm stupid. Let's get over there, it's gonna take a little bit. 5,000 feet, 17 miles an hour. I'll see you there. All right, moment of truth. Hopefully this works. It does, all right. Some money from TMR for the first time on Cattle Ranch 25. Our feed production is officially in business. Next year, the plan is to expand on it, get a production that'll mix it for us so we can have much larger loads delivered. But we're officially $9,000 in the green from this operation. Well, there's been a lot of investment into it. We'll eventually actually make money and get out of debt, but you know what I mean. Goal complete, year 5 complete. We got a lot of things that we're gonna sell in year 6 to get us a lot more cash and things flowing much better. And we're gonna try to make as much TMR as possible by May when those prices peak to see how much we can make and how much of that debt we can pay off. I'm Socks Way Up. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one.